River of Smoke is Amitav Ghosh's second book in the Abyss trilogy. Set across Mauritius to China, it covers new landscapes and has several new characters. I met with him on his recent trip to India to launch the book and started off by asking him if River of Smoke takes off from where the first book in the Abyss trilogy, Sea of Poppies, ended.
No, it actually opens decades later, but it does connect to those events in some ways, and then it travels backward, both backwards and forwards in time. Mm-hmm. And it heads off in a completely different direction, in fact, because if you remember, Sea of Poppies ended in the midst of a storm off the coast of Great Nicobar Island. And River of Smoke heads in the other direction now, towards China.
Okay. And do we see a lot more or new characters, or is it pretty much, older octogenarian versions of the younger characters that we saw in Sea of Poppies?
You do have octogenarian versions of of those characters, but yes, it does have. There are many new characters. I mean, the book is essentially set in China, so there's a lot of there are a lot of new people.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you're someone who's known to really take your time in writing your books a long while. So I believe this book was 4 years in the writing?
3.5, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have a working title for the last book in the trilogy?
No, I don't have any. But my friends in Goa say now I've done Sea of Poppies, River of Smoke. The next one should be Lagoons of Goa.
Right, so different water body.
A different water body.
In an earlier interview I read in Guernica, the interview asks you about Naipaul, and you have certain very strong things to say. What do you think about his recent episode? He's recently made these very misogynist comments about how no women writers are his equals. What do you have to say about that?
I think it's utterly absurd. I mean, it's the most absurd thing, and Naipaul repeatedly just utters these complete absurdities. And I think he does it to provoke, and in that he certainly succeeds. Because after he said that, there were sort of huge meetings in England, there were television programs, now you're asking me about it. I think, with any writer, you must separate the work and the
person?
The person, yeah.
It's difficult,
and the words,
right?
Yeah.
Reason I ask you about Naipaul also is that you've been compared to him, maybe not so much recently, but in the past, primarily because of the different lens of looking at the West or looking at history that you have both brought into the scene. What do you think about that comparison?
I admire Naipaul's work very much, so I mean, not all of his work, but some of his work I do admire very much. His early books especially are wonderful books. Miguel Street, A House for Mr. Biswas. These are wonderful books, and that's the thing. I think one has to keep reminding oneself that Naipaul can't be reduced to these absurd things that he says.
So, to end with River of Smoke, the Chrysamity, which is on the website, do you have a favorite word? There are lots of very cute, those sort of alliterative words in River of Smoke that Didi uses. Is there a particular word that you've really grown fond of?
I think badmash is one word I like very much.